Hey, everybody, welcome back to Beyond the Point. I'm your host, Tim Brown, sitting here disappointed in myself because I did not get the footage and the audio of our Missouri trip on here. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what I've done wrong, but sometimes some of the best conversations that I've had, the audio does not work, the video doesn't work. It's just a thing. If I can get it fixed, I'm gonna throw it on there and I'll put it out, but it just did not work for nothing. So I apologize. I apologize to my friends that I was on there with. It was an amazing conversation, but that just means I'm gonna have to go back down there and hang out with them again. And we can record one and maybe my dumb caveman brain can figure this stuff out. I don't know what I did wrong, but it did not work. So I'm going to keep this episode pretty short. It's only going to probably be 15, 20 minutes long because I can only talk to myself so much. And I wanted to do some things and talk to you guys about a few things that I have going on. I put a video out on, I think it was on TikTok, about all the stuff that I have going on, but I'm going to make a better one today to put out on YouTube and put out on the podcast feed and all of this stuff. But I've got some really cool guests coming up in the future, and we're going to knock this show out of the park. And but to start, turkey season ended. I'm kind of sad, but I'm kind of glad. I've been up every morning, almost every morning from April 11th until now. So it's been over a full month. I've been up in the woods. We've been trying to get youth tags filled for some friends, and we didn't fill three out of the four youth tags we did not fill. Not from, our lack of effort. We gave it our all yesterday and came up a little short, but turkey season overall was phenomenal. It was unbelievable. I harvested my first season bird in Iowa the second day on public ground, and I had him kind of patterned, so it wasn't a difficult hunt by any means. But as the season progressed, it got tougher and tougher. The spring was so chilly that the bird, she's coming in hot. The spring was so chilly that the birds were not acting normal. I mean, they're extremely henned up right now, and it's been tough the last couple weeks where the girls aren't really on their nests sitting, which this time of year they're usually on the nest, getting close to sitting. So I expect a kind of a late hatch for some turkeys around here in northwest Iowa. Missouri, it was the same thing. It was about a week ahead of what we are here, but they were still way behind too. It was a weird season because it got really warm in like March, and then it got really cold all through April. So the fluctuation just really messed with a lot of turkeys this year. And I've heard that from a lot of people that it's just a little off. So, but all in all, my buddy Alan harvested his bird, and it was a difficult bird to get in. They would respond to the calls early, but they would not commit. Usually in, second season in mid-April in Iowa, they're ready to go. They're gonna cooperate with calls. They're gonna come in, and he just hung up. And he was an older bird. You could tell he held up at about 45 yards and wouldn't come any closer. And thank goodness for the Migra TSS led blend, because 45 yards and he with my 20 gauge and he put him down. That was the longest shot of the season for sure. My first season bird was not far. I think it was like 10 yards. And then I went down to Missouri for a week, and I can't tell you how amazing southern Missouri in like the Mark Twain National Forest and in the Ozark Mountains and stuff like that, how completely different it is than what Iowa is where we hunt. Iowa, we have cornfields, and then it's mixed in with a bunch of different hardwood draws. There's some timber and stuff like that, but it's mostly a lot of open stuff for the birds to strut and put on a display. Down in southern Missouri, you've got maybe some food plots and stuff like that mixed throughout the timber, but you're hunting ridge runners. You're hunting birds that are in the timber, and if that foliage is thick, good luck. I mean, we called in I think we called in 8 or 9 birds, and we legitimately had a shot at 1, and I missed it. Yeah. I called him from, I don't know, it was, I don't know, half mile away. He come up the hill, and, you would think that a guy that's hunted turkeys for 30, 32 to 34 years would have a little bit of patience and a little bit of, he's coming, he's coming, don't rush it. And he got to about 35 yards and I had to shoot through a little like pine sapling at that point, and I literally couldn't help myself, and I shot, and the sapling took, 99% of the, shot, and I missed him, to where if I woulda let him come another 10 yards, he would've been in the wide open in 20 yards, and it would've been a done deal. But I get so worked up over these turkeys, and I can't help it. Like, a lot of people are like, when I'm using a decoy or something, and a lot of people ask me, "Why didn't you let it beat up the decoy more?" And I'm like, "I can't help it. I just cannot help it. I don't, it might be from when I was a younger kid, and I would let them do that because I was bow hunting them, and I would let them beat the decoy up, and I'd just put on that full show. I had missed a few with my bow. I don't know if that was part of it to where I couldn't resist it, you know? I don't know, but I can't help it. I can't help it. And Brody was with me yesterday, or I was with Brody yesterday, and we were trying to fill his tag, and the turkeys were gobbling at us at, I don't know, they were across the gravel road, and everybody knows how hard it is to get a turkey to cross the road and all that stuff. And the first gobble that he heard, and it was, I mean, they were a ways away, and instantly just started shaking, and I'm like, "Dude, calm down. They are a long way away, and we've got plenty of time." I go, "You need to just concentrate on your breathing, concentrate on keeping yourself calm." And I said, "We'll freak out after, you put the thing down. We'll go crazy like we always do." I said, "You just until the shot, you just gotta try to keep yourself as calm as possible." And he goes, do you still feel that way?" I go, "Dude, every single time I feel that way when I go turkey hunting. I cannot control myself, but you always have to have that voice in your head. You always have to tell yourself, like, you need to calm down, relax. He's got a long way to go. You got a long time. It's got to be the same. I don't know because I haven't deer hunted in a long time, but it's got to be the same thing as like, don't look at the antlers. Don't look at the antlers. Don't look at the antlers. Don't get yourself caught up on getting yourself and your heart rate so worked up that you can't handle it. And then you miss. That's what happens. So, you just gotta reiterate to them young kids, just calm down, concentrate on your breathing, concentrate on that, and it'll all work out. We didn't get a shot at the bird, but it was, you could see him calming down a little bit, but he was shaking like a leaf. Man, he was shaking like a leaf. And if you've ever taken a kid out and he's killed 3 birds, so he's not a rookie by any means, but, I just said to him, "If you ever lose that," I go, "you might as well just give it up because it's not worth going anymore." But so he missed a couple birds, his little brother missed a couple birds, and so the season was great for them, but it just couldn't get it done. And with young kids, it's hard to not use a blind and not use decoys just because, in my opinion, you wanna get them fired up. You wanna get them fired up for hunting so they don't, so they don't lose interest. You want it to be the best experience possible, and when they're young and they move around, the best experience possible is not a ton of disappointment, but a ton of building. What we're all gonna embrace the suck, as what Steve Ranella likes to say. Like, we're all gonna face that, but we gotta get them over the hump of not being disappointed right off the bat when they're young. 8 to 10 years old. You want it to be as cool as possible experience, and a lot of times with blinds and decoys, you get the full show the first thing. Like Michael, the kid that I took out, a buddy of mine's boy this season, his first time ever hunting of any kind. We went out shooting, did all that. He did great. We went out. I had the blind set up, decoys out, and they were gobbling, and he was just the smile ear to ear on his face, and excuse me. And he was just enamored by the gobbling. And then there was 2 or 3 bald eagles up there, and they were chattering at each other and going crazy. Excuse me. And all the other birds that were going off, and, hearing some coyotes howl, hearing the owls hooting, and then the gobbles to it, and then the hens, and then watching those toms come in. He missed his first shot, but he was extremely worked up. He missed his first shot. I bet he shot over his head 3.5 feet. And they were at like 15 yards. It is what it is. I didn't let him get discouraged about it. I'm like, "Dude, everybody misses, and if you say that you haven't missed, you haven't hunted enough. I'm sorry, you just haven't." So, I was just but he got the full show. He got 3 toms coming into the decoys. One was full strut. It got him to gobble while they were at 20 yards away from us, so it would pop its head up so he could shoot, and the whole experience, you could he still hasn't stopped talking about it. And then we took him out. It was him and his buddy Reed, which is my buddy Alan's youngest boy. I took both of them crazy, crazy kids out. And the best part was Michael got to shoot his turkey, his first ever turkey on his grandpa's farm. On their farm, it was the perfect scenario that I could ever want it to happen. And his dad's mad at me because he's not a hunter, but he's like, great. Now he's gonna want to do this all the time. I go, he's always welcome to go with me. I said, "No problem. We're good to go." But those birds, both of those boys were asleep in the blind. We're sitting there, and I heard them off behind us, which they usually come from over the hill behind us and come down to this draw, this creek, and get a drink. And they're either going to come from there, they're going to come from across the road by my truck. It's just a hub where all these birds like to hang out in this field. And they come up the top of the hill and they gobbled 5 or 6 times before I woke the boys up. And then I woke them up and I said, "Hey, there's turkeys behind us." And I was calling to them and they're coming down the hill and the hens come running down the hill. They came to the creek to get a drink of water and the toms followed. There was 4 toms together. There was 4 toms, there was 5 hens, and the hens kind of just, came down, got their drink, went by my decoys, and they're watching them because I've got a full blind that's the see-through, and, they're watching these turkeys, and knowing what I know about turkeys, I'm watching the birds, and they're watching the birds, and I've got the gun on the shooting sticks, and I look at Michael as I see these turkeys, as these toms are coming in, and they get 50 yards away and their head goes from red instantly to white. And I like, "Michael, get the gun on your shoulder and get ready because they're coming." And did they come? And the 4 come. The dominant bird that he shot got the wing out, smacked that Jake decoy with that wing. And it was kind of a tough thing when you got kids and those 4 birds would not like spread out very well. So we had to wait, and I'm in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh man, the longer we wait, the more he's gonna shake." But he did great. The migra put him down, like, no problem, but it was legitimately, I think, 11 yards because when I take a kid out hunting, I want the decoys as close to the blind as we can get to where it's not gonna be like the bird can see us, but close enough to where it's a slam dunk shot for the young man. So, he did great. It was a giant bird. I think it was 23 pounds something, and it was a double bearded bird. First, his main beard was 11 inches. The secondary beard was 4.5. The spurs were about an inch, inch and a quarter. So it was an unbelievable first bird. Unbelievable. I think it was probably a hybrid because it had the white tips, but it still had some darker colors in it. So I think it was a hybrid Eastern and Miriam, which we have a ton of in our area. And he got to go pick it up, and that's the other thing that I like to tell kids and anybody that's new, and for everybody that follows my page and sees my stuff, like, and I put a post out about it. Like, you're the first person, the first human ever to touch this bird. This bird's never been touched by a human being. It's the same. I feel the same way about pheasants. I feel the same way about anything that's a wild animal. A deer is the exact same way. Like, you're legitimately the first human being to touch that bird. And like with a deer, if you've been watching this deer for, 6 years or whatever, 5, 6 years, this deer has gone through everything for 5 or 6 years and has still never been touched by a person. Same thing with a turkey. It's never been touched by a human. And when you harvest that animal and show it the respect that it deserves, because this thing has lived long enough to evade everything. I mean, you got the winters on top of flooding in the spring, on top of um animals trying to get you, coyotes, eagles. When you're everything wants to eat you. And when you finally outsmart that bird and trick that bird and you harvest it, I go, extremely important, special thing that has just happened. It's not just about shooting the bird, and we can be happy about harvesting the bird, absolutely, 100%. But the weight that's on you from taking a life, for one thing, and then like putting it into perspective that you're the first person to ever touch that bird. Those boys realized it, and they have a new appreciation of wild animals. It's not just us going out and killing as much as we possibly can. If you know any real hunter, it's not about that. The numbers thing, it goes in waves. When you're younger, yeah, you want to the limit is the big thing. You want the limit. You want every bird that you can get legally, you want to do it. But at a certain point in your life, and sometimes it takes longer for others than most people, but when you go through hunter safety, they kind of explain it. At a certain point you get to, you take in the whole experience. And that's kind of what this show and what this giveaway that we're doing, like that's kind of what this whole thing is premise about. It is about everything beyond the point. Everything beyond that turkey coming in, gobbling, and you harvesting the bird. The camaraderie you have in the blind with these boys and the jokes that we're making, and me explaining to 2 10-year-olds how turkeys reproduce was some of the funniest, most comical stuff that I've ever said in my life. And those boys they were just full of questions, and you try to explain it the best way you can without it being, weird on how this happens. And it was the funniest. And that's what it's about. It's not about just the shooting of the animal, which, don't get me wrong, that's a big part of it, but that's the end of it. That's where it stops. And like, that's how the end of the season is, or when you fill your tag and it didn't take you but 3 hours to do it. And it's like, man, my season's over and I don't, it's done. I don't get to go out and experience this more, which in Iowa we get 2 tags. So you get a little bit more. And if you have kids, you can take kids or new people that want to get involved in it. You can take them out too and feed your addiction a little bit, because I don't care what anybody says. When my dog, if my dog goes on point and a bird flushes, or I hear turkeys gobbling in the woods and I get to see them, or you find a field that's just completely sopped full of mallards and you get to go do that, it's better than any drug that's ever been made. I don't care what anybody says. I've never done a drug in my life, but it's better than anything else. That the high that you get from the experience of the hunt and the hunt itself, there's nothing like it. And people that don't get to experience it, I feel kind of sorry for them, but you have to also want to do it, And like us that do this stuff, our lifestyle, that's all we think about. That's all we think about. So the show is kind of along that premise of everything that goes into it. All the preparation from before the point to all the stuff after the point and in between. So that's where my mind went for the vision of this show. And I've had a couple episodes out with some amazing people that I just absolutely love, Sammy and Levi, 2 of my really good friends. And you guys have been awesome with it. It's actually went over really, really well. And I hope to keep bringing you bi-weekly episodes that are just going to be amazing. And we're going to start putting out on the YouTube a lot of my hunting videos also. I'm going to start putting together some extended clips and stuff like that so everybody can come watch it. But with that being said, uh I'm going to shamelessly plug my own stuff right now a little bit. A food plot season's coming. It's almost here. We actually finally got some rain, which was a huge blessing, and we needed rain so bad. And the next couple weeks, you're going to be planting sorghum plots for your pheasants. And I've got my ringneck reserve on my website, www.thebeardeduplandercompany.com. Go there, 25-pound bags, 50-pound bags, whichever you want. It's a blend of white and red sorghum together. All the details are on the website. You can click on it and see what you can spray and what you can't. Uh, uh, I've only got probably 250, 300 pounds left. And once that's gone, I'm not going to get any more until next year. So it's gone over really well. A lot of people have gotten it from me. And if you have, I need pictures of everything. I will send you something for free if you send me pictures of the ringneck reserve used on your property when it gets up and it looks great. No problem. I will definitely send people free swag for all of that stuff. So that's that. The second thing that I want to go over with you guys here, hold on a second. Let me click on this so I get it right. Elf Tiger Ammunition, we are doing a giveaway, Beyond the Point hunt giveaway. You know, most giveaways end with a product. Ours begins with an experience. Like I've been talking about, an experience. That's I want everybody to have the experiences that I get to have, which all you guys tell me all the time that you're jealous of what I get to do. And, you know, sometimes I pinch myself because I don't know how I got that lucky to be able to do what I do. And I want everybody to experience the stuff that I experience. Like when I went out before Gus got too old, we went out to Wyoming. The one thing that I had been wanting to do with him ever since I got him in 2007, I wanted to go to Wyoming and I wanted to harvest a sage grouse with him. That was like the icon that I could not get out of my head that I wanted to do. The prairie grouse, I love it. We'd go every year, and that was a tradition that we did, him and I. And then it's rolled over into all my dogs now, and I will not ever miss a trip to the grasslands to hunt sharptails and prairie chickens. I just will not do it. That's one thing that I will sacrifice. I would sacrifice all of my pheasant hunting to make sure that I go hunt prairie grouse because they're the original. You know, they've been here forever, and I think they're just the coolest birds. But anyway, so we got together and we wanted to invite our customers to hunt with us and then share a passion that builds a real connection, something, you know, something far deeper than just winning gear, which the package of the gear is freaking unbelievable, by the way. I've got 3 winners that we're going to have, and it's 3 unforgettable hunts. And then it'll be fully outfitted by the brands who live the life as hard as we do. So, I'm going to run down each hunt. I'm going to run down each person wins this package, okay? So, the first hunt is in Utah. We're going to go hunt blues and we're going to hunt rough grouse in the mountains of Utah with my good friend Ben Proctor, which if you haven't seen it, go over to good lord, go over to B Pro Kennels and check out his they landed a helicopter on his dog boxes, which is crazy. Anyway, we're going to hunt with Ben, my good friend Ben, and we're going to do all that, but we're also going to go do a little trout fishing if we have time, which we will have time during the middle of the day. We're going to go do some trout fishing maybe one day, and I want everybody to experience the mountains of Utah like I did. That just literally changed. Honestly, it changed my life. They are breathtaking. So that's the first hunt. That's the first hunt we're going to give away. The second hunt is to go with me to Wyoming and hunt sage grouse. And if we can find some spots that there's some chuckers and some huns, we might. But you know, with only having limited time, and I want everybody to get the sage grouse under their belt. So that's going to be the main focus is sage grouse in Wyoming. And then the third hunt is going to be in South Dakota, and we're going to hunt pheasants on the opening weekend, and we're also going to hunt prairie grouse. That will be an experience of a lifetime for somebody also. So you've got 3 hunts that are just unfrickin' believable. On top of that, we're going to have this giveaway. Okay, here's what each person's going to win. Hold on to your hats. You're going to win a Franke Instinct LX shotgun over under 12 gauge, 20 gauge. I think you get to pick which one you want. I'm almost positive you get to pick which caliber or which gauge you want. You get a pair of Chief Upland Uplander pants. You get a Chief Upland terrain jacket. You also get a Chief Upland over under vest. Get those 3 things. Okay. You get a Williams knife, custom knife. Williams Knife Company has a custom knife for everybody and some swag. You get an Onyx subscription for a year with some swag. You get your own Gunner kennel. You get the Gunner dog bowl. You get the Gunner tie down straps for it. Okay. You get a turtle box speaker and some swag. You also get a case of Migra ammunition, whichever gauge you have. You'll get a case of that. You'll also get a decked drawer system for your truck, which this is just, there's so much stuff on this. And then you get a case of retriever fuel for your dog. So much stuff. Oh, and Yeti giving some cups and bottles and stuff like that also. So we'll have all that. We'll have some Beyond the Point swag. I'll actually have some Bearded Uplander swag too that each winner is going to get. And then Yeah, the 3 hunts. So you gotta go get in on it. So if you go to my face or my Instagram is the best place to do it. I'll have it on I'll have it on all the collab posts. We'll all have the barcode, scan code that you can scan it and get in on this. It's all through my Facebook also. I usually put it in the comments because Facebook has some weird thing that I can't like put a link to it. So anyway, I have that, and it might be just because I'm an idiot too on my Facebook. I don't know. But anyway, it'll be on there. There'll be a ton of different ways to enter. All our partners are gonna be having collab posts and putting it out there also. You might get an email from Migra or Chief Upland if you're already a subscriber to their emails. You're probably already have gotten the link to it. But go put your information in, get in on it. We're gonna draw at the end of June, and then we're gonna go each week. So the end of June, the first part of July, and then the second week of July is when we're gonna draw the 3 winners. We'll get in contact with you when the dates are. The first 2 hunts will be September, and then the South Dakota hunt will be in October during the opener of pheasant. So everybody needs to get it put in on that for that giveaway. It's gonna be unbelievable. We're gonna have an unbelievable time. The lodging and everything's taken care of, and just come experience the cool places that a lot of people probably will never get a chance to go enjoy. You should, if you have any way to do it, you should go do the things that we're doing. And it doesn't have to be every year, but just go literally experience the prairie. That's my favorite place to be. If you can just go one time, and you don't even have to harvest a whole bunch of birds, but just go one time and just enjoy yourself with it's just so much more slowed down, laid back, relaxing. You get a little bit what I like to call the upland reset. Because if you work your butt off every day and you are trying to find some way to, release and just try to find a way to make it through, anytime that you can get out into the prairie, it helps reset everything for you. At least in my mind, it does. And I know a lot of you are the same way. But if you do that, get in on the giveaway because I will guarantee that you have a life changing feeling. I will almost guarantee it just by going to those places. It will be a life-changing experience. It really will. Even if we don't do that well on birds, just the scenery will just amaze everybody. Anyway, so that's what that is. That's what we got going on. And I've got a few friends coming up in the next few weeks that we're gonna have a podcast and we're gonna talk about it a lot more too. And I'll have a link in the description of this podcast out on the YouTube page, on Apple Podcasts. It'll all be on there. So don't fret on that. Another thing that I really would like some help with from you guys. I need to know what you guys want me to talk about on this stupid show. It's not stupid, but you know what I mean. Like, what do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want? So I need everybody to send me an email with questions, with anything that you want to know, but send it to the bleh, bleh, bleh. Send it to beardeduplandercompany@gmail.com. Send me an email. Get it over to me and give me some suggestions. If you guys want me to ever go live and do stuff like that, I will probably do some live podcasts when I have some people in the podcast studio. Be quiet, dude. And we'll probably go live on a few things if I can get it ever figured out on how to do it. So send me all the information that you guys want. Whatever you guys want from me, there's a good chance that I'll probably do it for you. Just send it to me and we'll get it figured out. So that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. What else can we talk about? That's actually about it. I go on a fishing trip next week up to South Dakota to try to get some walleyes with my brothers and some really good friends, my nephews, and we have a blast over the week trying to catch as many walleyes as we possibly can. So, with that being said, it sounds like my dogs need to go outside. They're whining, and Ansel is looking at me like I got to go to the bathroom. I'm going to sign off of this, and I'm going to talk to you guys next couple weeks. And we're going to put out as many podcasts as I possibly can, talking with some amazing people in the industry, and it's going to be great. So, love you guys. Talk to you soon.